All right, so here we go. Episode 2. Not quite sure what to call it yet, but basically, I'm super excited to be here. Long story short, I already recorded this, but I didn't push the record button, of course. So it happens when you're new to things. You practice them, you try them out. Sometimes things don't work, and you just let it roll. You keep going. Gotta get to the next step. So here's what we're gonna do. Part one is my response to comments, and I just wanted to say hello to Matthew. It's nice to see you. Thank you for chiming in. It's nice to actually get some feedback and to get some people who are just keeping an eye on what I'm doing. It makes me feel motivated to continue doing this, and I really appreciate it. Also, I do remember your comment prior, Matthew, and we will be talking about autism. But I thought it would be more important right now to discuss change because of what everybody's going through with COVID. It's really relevant culturally. But also, there's the specific book that we're going to be talking about today is How to Survive Change You Didn't Ask For by MJ Ryan. And I think it's a really good look into the psychology of how to adapt and accept change. And it gives a lot of good bullets on what to do if you're in a situation where maybe you don't notice that you're in denial. It's a very common thing. That's why it is denial. That's why you deny it, because it couldn't possibly be true for you. But if you at least think about these questions at night, when you're rolling around in bed and you can't sleep and you're replaying the day over, and you give it a little second to just let some things click, maybe we can make a little bit of progress. Maybe we can talk about something that you needed to get off of your chest. Once again, my Reddit is the mommy, THE, capital M0MMY. Feel free to contact me at any point. I'm always available. And we're going to get to part two. So, for what I'm going to do is I'm going to be reading my notes from this book. If you love this book and you think it would be really pertinent for you to have it, I will, if somebody comments and asks about where to get it, I will post on how to go about getting it. It is a fantastic read, and I, of course, suggest every book I do this for, I will, of course, send out ways to get it. But I thought the best way to do this is to get right into it. So it starts out saying that Aikido masters say to be successful in life, there are three kinds of mastery required. Mastery of yourself, the understanding of feelings and thoughts and how to regulate them. Mastery of others, creating a shared understanding and action. And mastery of change, having the capacity and to adapt easily without losing your center, who you are as a human being. As we go through the journey of change, we don't ask for what we will learn. We ask to be aware of the physical and emotional reactions to change, mental and emotional qualities of mastering change, why self-care is crucial, and how to live with uncertainty and respond in positive and healthy ways as possible. We're also going to learn how to identify new opportunities and how to use what is happening to align even more with my talents and values. This is what we're basically going to get into in this book. Here we go. So, the top 10 sinkholes that we get into with change are number one, being stuck in denial. Number two, being paralyzed by fear and shame. Number three, spending a lot of time and energy on blame or regret. And number four, believing that there is nothing we can do or focusing on the problem rather than the solution. Or also using solutions to new problems that have worked in the past, but they're not currently working, and you're confused or you're trying to understand why. It's probably because you're using an old system to solve a new question. Then there's another really sticky point, and it's the yes but. When you yes but your options, you're not getting in touch with what gives you meaning and purpose. Then there's going at it alone, resisting or refusing to learn new things because it takes extra effort. And all of these things are going to get in your way, and you have to learn how to use tools that you learn through life, through experience, through talking, that you utilize to adapt and fix your predicament, your so you can use to move on forward. There are 7 truths about change. Change is the only thing I can count on. It's not personal. My thinking is not always my friend. Change isn't the enemy, fear is. Scientists have discovered that you can snap somebody out of a stupor that fear can cause with a loud sound or noise. Now, to me, what this means is, if you get stuck in your head, there used to be a trick where you would snap a rubber band on your wrist. Also, nowadays, because that is potentially could be self-harm, they have a lot of good ideas pertaining to um, pulling ice out of your drink. There are a lot of people who walk around with drinks these days, and it's not uncommon. So in order to kind of hide or keep that inside so that nobody else knows it, if you're in a stressful situation, grabbing an ice cube out of that drink and squeezing it will send your brain that signal to, oh, hey, we got to calm down, something's not right, and it'll snap you out. Then we have that there is a predictable emotional cycle to change, and those are sad, mad, angry, blaming, and afraid. Now, scientists are also coming up with this new information, seeing that an emotion lasts 90 seconds. So anything past 90 seconds, an emotion begins to turn into a mood. So say you're going through a change that you don't want, it's really bad, and it's really taken up a lot of mind space. If you've already been sad, mad, angry, and blaming, and you're just kind of now getting into afraid, don't let yourself be sad again, because you've already experienced that. You don't have to be stuck in that mood and get yourself in that rut. There's only one way you can actually break out, and that's by reclaiming your mind. You're more resilient than you might think. Think what could possibly be right about this. I know that is a hard and not necessarily, it's not always going to be possible to think of those kinds of things. But if you can push yourself, even if you're replaying it in your head and you're in the middle of doing something and it's your zone out time, try and get those thoughts into your head, because the more you do, the better and easier it will get. And the future is built on a bedrock of change. It is always going to change. Absolutely nothing is certain, and that is certain. See what I'm saying? Absolutely nothing is certain, so only that could possibly be certain. It's hard, and it's quite confusing. But together we can get through it. And doing that, we have to learn the difference between me as a person and my behavior. To adapt my behaviors, I may need to change, but I never change who I am. My love, talent, values, and preferred environments are bricks to rebuild yourself. If you've gone through something severely traumatizing and you're changing your personality, those are what you can use as your stepping stones and your guiding lights for who you truly are. Actions of a change master. Step 1, accept the change. Gather facts like a news reporter. Ask questions like, what is happening? What do I and don't I understand about the situation? Do I need more information before taking action? What have I been trying to control here? What is the difference in how I am feeling and/or the situation? What keeps coming up although I keep putting it down? What am I needing to attend to but not doing now? What resources are available to help me through this change? And how are others in a similar situation dealing with this? Helping yourself out of denial is extremely important when going through change. Try to ask yourself and figure out the answers to these things. Number 1, what do I imagine the consequences of not doing this thing would be? Number 2, given those consequences, what would I tell a close friend to do? And number 3, who or what do I need to help me to take advice from question 2? So our brains create 10 answers to problems. Now, these are the things that we use to scapegoat our answers a lot of the time. Number 1 is abandonment. I will just end up alone. Number 2, deprivation. Well, I couldn't possibly do that. My needs want to be met. Number 3, subjugation. It's always your way, never mine. Number 4, mistrust. That states they're always out to get me. Number 5, unlovable. Well, I'm just not lovable. Number 6, exclusion. I'm always left out. Number 7, vulnerability. I'm responsible, but I can't control the situation, so I feel overwhelmed and worry excessively. Number 8, failure. Well, I'm not good enough. Number 9, entitlement. And number 10, perfection. I have to do everything right. Becoming aware of your particular schema is important during change, because it allows you to begin to step out of a situation and perceive it more objectively, and therefore responding more effectively. Schemas are most easily seen in other people, though. When you are unusually upset or preoccupied by persistent emotions or behaving impulsively or inappropriately, Bennett Goldmar says there is a cue that is a clue that a schema is at work. Then she says to notice your feelings in your body, notice actions based off of this belief, notice thoughts that go along with that sensation. Ask what reminds you of what you may be the origin of the schema. Challenge the schema by finding evidence against this belief. Do I find myself slacking off or pushing projects onto others, not being proactive, or not getting important things done? Perhaps doing irrelevant tasks. When you do all of these things, you get momentary relief, but the little remedy to the problems. Rather than beat myself up, you must understand that this is a natural human response to crisis. It is just a cue to figure out what is needed ASAP. Turn I can'ts into I won'ts. I have a star next to that because it is extremely hard to do, but that kind of self-talk is a great way to get yourself out of an unwanted situation mentally. Those who thrive and implement the 3 C's. Number 1, challenge. It is a chance to grow and learn. Number 2, control. Take actions to influence life events. Rather than being passive, take control of what I can. Number 3, commit. Passion about life, seeing it as more than survival. Stay connected even when it gets tough. I find that when things are tough, that is the most important time to do them. Ask myself these questions. For challenge, how could I do this? How could this change be a growth opportunity for me? If I don't know the answer, at least I can commit to asking it as I go through the days. Control. What can I control here? What actions could I take to be more in control? Or for commitment, what do I deeply care about? What gives meaning and purpose to my life? What energizes me? How can I get more in touch with these things? How to handle regrets so I can get the lessons and not stuck in the feeling. Number 1, feel the regret swiftly and move on, using it as a springboard into action. Number 2, find more than one reason for what happened, coming up with possible other factors that can help you to figure the lesson out. Number 3, how could this be worse? Burst the positive as much as you can. I know that those are hard, and normally they do help a touch, but if you can continue to get yourself into that positive mindset, it really does help. Number 4, don't spend too much time thinking of things that could have been. And number 5, tell someone else by writing or talking. Number 6, finally, keep an eye on the larger pictures. Find the gift in change. It may be hard at first. 3 questions to help find this gift. If anything could be right about this change for me, what could it possibly be? Number 2, how can I take this situation and use it to my advantage? And number 3, what opportunities has this created that I could take advantage of? Whatever the answers to those are portals to my success, acceptance, and a better tomorrow. When adapting to change, we need to come up with thoughts and solutions different from the ones that we've used in the past. Otherwise, we're just responding in habitual ways that may not serve us now. We tend to think about creativity in the context of being an artist or a musician. However, Frederick Flash says creativity is a response to a situation that calls for a novel but adaptive solution, one that serves to accomplish a goal. It is a type of resiliency that we can all be creative under the right circumstances. For more help, PTP's website, www.ptp-partners, partners.com. Their work is based on an understanding of the difference between people's minds. Look at the tools for discovery and using your mind pattern. Look for your self-concept. I am a person who. Meet the challenges of change. What experiences have you grown from that aren't included in your self-concept? And what qualities have you seen in you that aren't represented? Every time we go through something challenging, we develop strengths and awarenesses we didn't have before. If you are stuck on something and can't find the best directions, ask yourself, what is the next best option? It might help you become unfixated from the choices that you don't have and want to change the ones that you do. The brain is designed to learn something, make it automatic, and then be to conserve energy. You have to physically force yourself to learn past this. To have maximum recovery energy, we need extension and recovery strategies in all domains of existence: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. Within each space, think about what you're doing that's strengthening you and what you can do to recover. Self-care isn't optional when riding the white waters of change. Each individual path of every person is extremely personal. The path is always a mystery for the soul that is on it. It is searching for the path and living through the mystery that is ours only to do. Only in hindsight, looking back, we can see the line that we've created by our fumbling in the dark. In her book, I Will Not Die an Unlived Life, Donna writes the acronym of LIVE. L, what do I love to do? I, what are my inner talents? V, what are my values? What truly matters to me? And E, what environments bring out the best in me? There is a unique assessment on the PTP website I talked about thinking talents. And once you know what they are, it's pretty easy to get intuitive about your type. They are analytic, concerned with data, facts, logic, numbers, and being logical and rational. With money, they're concerned with ways to count, and with time, they're concerned with the present. Procedural, concerned with the process, operating logistic tactics, and with money, concerned with ways to save, while with time, concerned with how people have done things previously. Relational, concerned with feelings of morale, teamwork, helping people grow. With money, concerned with ways to help, and with time, it isn't really so important. And innovative, concerned with newness, possibilities, strategies, big picture. With money, concerned with ways to spend on exciting new things, and with time, they look to the future. Notice your strongest domains. What are your concerns for any given situation? There is no right or wrong, just notice what is true for you. Also notice which you avoid. It is important not just to note your comfort zone, but what you shy away from. What happens if you see that you've been choosing all the wrong things? If you allow the pain of that awareness to touch you, not with shame or guilt, but with the stern truth of it, you can start to live from values that matter to you now and make that active choice to make different choices. From Candace Carpenter's book, chapters just like a novel may not be sure where the story takes us, but you can feel lost and confused. Forbes asked Richard Cargard, build on your strengths to mitigate your weaknesses, and we all have them. Partner up, find your complement. The Unthinkable by Amanda Ripley says the more drivers stare at potholes, the more likely they are to drive into them. But just like when focusing on troubles and problems, we narrow our gaze and make smaller our perception. But when we widen our focus and expand our peripheral vision, we tell the primal part of our brain that there is no danger, and it turns off, leaving us more able to think fully of the situation. Create SMART plans for the future. And that's also an acronym. S is for specific. You know what the action is. M is measurable. You can tell when it is done. A is achievable. It is the best possible way to get done, and it is possible to do. R is for relevant. It relates to the problem at hand and matters to you. And T is time-bound. There is a deadline attached. Know what your success means to you. With some things, getting to zero or a definitive amount is easy but less tangible. For others, finding meaning in yourself is what they're looking for. Perhaps we all have the same goal. Perhaps we all have different goals. So long as we can communicate them, we'll be better off. Stop and appreciate yourself when you accomplish goals. Think through intermediate steps for every step. People get tripped up regularly on tiny details and let precious time fly by. Challenge yourself to think ahead for what is needed and those intermediate steps ASAP. First, embrace the bad feeling. Commiserate with yourself and let yourself cry as long as you want. Then make a plan to take action, whether you feel like it or not. That's the key. First, indulge your feelings and then ignore them. If you wait to act until you feel like it, you won't do anything. Take tactics from improvisers. They make a mistake and turn it into a rolling joke based on feedback. They can adjust on a dime. Here's an easy way to think about it. You know what you want, but how you're going to make it happen is the nature of the experiment. Try to do something, get a result, evaluate the process, and readjust if necessary. Don't put time into action if you can't observe or evaluate, and don't evaluate vaguely either. Also, if the situation continues to change and you don't look at it because you feel satisfied, try again. Maybe you'll get a better result this time. We all need to continually skill up. There are tips. If you work with other people, ask them what their tools and techniques they're using and what trends are in your field that they're seeing. And then you can learn for yourself. If colleagues are asking you to use a new technology or you keep hearing about something new, consider it a favor to yourself that you've got the 411. If you work alone, go to the web and see what competitors are doing. If you're looking for work as you network, ask people in the industry trends if they're seeing and what's required. Ask what's the first thing they'd learn in your shoes and check out those trend reports on recession-proof jobs. Maybe also redefine lowly. Maybe you need something mediocre, what you used to call mediocre for the time being. There are poor people all over the world, black, white, rich, and poor, who went to sleep. But when that person went to sleep, they never awakened, and they would give anything for 5 minutes of what that person who is awake is complaining about. That was Mary Lou's grandmother, and those were very wise words that hit me very deeply. Doing a great job is only half of your job. The other thing is making sure others know who you are, because otherwise they're too focused on themselves and won't pay attention to you. That's from Jessica Deitch. What do I want to be known for? What makes me different? Famous can be overrated, but if I'm known for something, that defines me. Think long and hard about you and your brand. It's not bragging. It's a statement of what you uniquely have to offer. The more you embrace who you are and what you're good at, the more you can communicate it in such a way that it comes off as an accurate statement of the truth, with you being appropriately confident. And the more you focus on benefits for the other person, the other side, the more they'll only be grateful that you can offer such a wonderful thing. Next, you decide how you're going to let people know. Look for opportunities to bring it up. When you do something great, be sure to let the appropriate people know. And brand isn't solely through words either. It's also actions. You want people who matter to you or to others or to anyone to say the same thing about your brand that you state. When looking for work, it is best not to ask for a job. Instead, ask for help. What's your perspective on the industry? Do you know anyone I can talk to? What should I be learning now? Am I looking in these areas? Do you know what other areas that you would suggest given my experience and talent? Who else should I talk to? When you are connected to a new person, be persistent but not a pest. They won't always respond. Even if someone they know has made a connection, don't take it personally. If you do get to speak with them, come prepared with things they'll find useful. Here are some tips. Learn about the person you're reaching out to. Control what others find out about you when they Google you. Buy your name domain for about $10 a year and then put up a simple web page. Think of it as a marketing tool for your life. Join Lynn Kane. Get comfortable with the role of job seeker. Practice what you're going to say. Make an ABC list of people to talk to and start with the C so that by A you're comfortable. Get a networking buddy. It not only keeps you consistent, but you can also trade connections and go to events so you're not alone. How about a change master circle with close friends who meet regularly and discuss the kinds of things a group can do to support one another during change? Tell a story to a partner about a hard time you went through with the listener listening for the inner resources you used to get through. Then switch roles. And have the other tell your story to the whole. Hearing your story retold, other people might highlight different parts that you said, which might shed light onto what skills, talents, and anything else that you might have to offer that you didn't quite acknowledge at first. Share with each other the skills, talents, and connections that you have to offer. It will not only help the person receiving, but also the one who gives the gift, as they receive a gift of self-respect that they have something valuable to offer. Introduce the 4 domains of competence. Think about what domain you almost never use. That's where we tend to worry about. Find a person in the group who is strong in that way of thinking and brainstorm ways to receive guidance and support. Invite older people who have been through tough times economically before to offer their wisdom. Go to www.imaginechicago, that's IMAGINECHICAGO.org, to find out what this group did to revitalize their community. Unwanted change often being an embarrassment about our need to scale back. We want to feel and appear competent to run our own lives successfully. One advantage of what's happening right now is it's happening to everyone. Allow your experience to be your heart and grow your compassion. Learning is strengthened when we take our time to reflect on what we learned. The final stage is more of a resting spot. In the book Innovation and Entrepreneurship by Peter F. Drucker claims that we are moving into an entrepreneurial society in which people must continue to learn new things their entire life and must take responsibility for their learning, their own self-development, and their own careers. Change can knock us down flat, but it always gives us opportunities to grow, even if it's hard to see while we're going through it. That's why it's so important after the fact to take a step back and see how we developed as a result. There are some reflection questions, such as what worked, why, what didn't work, why, what would you improve upon yourself next time you face change, what inner resources did you use from the past, what new ones did you cultivate, tools and techniques that helped you stay positive or focused, your best allies, and what qualities of heart, mind, and spirit do you have now that you didn't have before that made you stronger in yourself? How can you offer those to others? And what can you do in an ongoing way to stay in touch with yourself? Think of those LIVE elements so they remain your strong foundation. Now, the reason that book was really important to me and I wanted to share my notes is because there's a lot of good food for the brain in there. And that's basically what this is going to be, just food for the brain, something for you to sit and listen to as you water your plants and go through about your days and sit and you struggle. We can struggle together. Together we can learn from each other's experiences, but we can also grow together. And I cannot wait to meet you and I cannot wait to interact with you. I kind of also just wanted to get people who are on Reddit and are looking at my videos. My username is capital THE, and then M0MMY, the mommy. That's me. And that's how you can reach out to me on Reddit. You can always leave a comment, always leave anything for discussion, and I will always address it. And also, Matthew, I'm not sure if I already said this because this is the third time I'm recording this. The first time I didn't hit the record button. But we will be talking about autism. That is also something that not only have I read up on, but it also very personally talks to me. And if there's anybody out there who needs somebody, I hope one day you hear this, and I hope one day I can be that beacon and we can connect. It's very nice to talk to you. I can't wait to see you guys again.